Hey guys, welcome back to another very interesting video of Versatile Knowledge. So in this video, I've brought you guys a very quick comparison between two of the most talked about SoCs of this month. That is the Qualcomm Snapdragon 675 and the Qualcomm Snapdragon 710. And yes, these two smartphone SoCs are being in discussion for the last 2 or 3 weeks just because these two SoCs are being used on the two of the most anticipated and awaited smartphones. One of them is the Redmi Note 7 Pro, which has already been released, and the second SoC that will be used on the Realme 3 Pro that will be coming in the next week. In this video, I'll be giving you guys a very quick comparison between the architecture, the performance, the benchmarking scores, and the optimization that is required, and all the other things about the Snapdragon 675 and the 710. Without wasting any time, let's get started. Right after people hear the name Snapdragon 710, they'll have a thinking in their mind that yes, it is a 7 series SoC, it will be obviously powerful than any 6 series SoCs, and its power can even match with some of the top range SoCs manufactured by Qualcomm like the Snapdragon 855 or 845. But that is not actually true. To start with, Snapdragon 710 was launched in 2018. It was used in the Mi 8 SE smartphone as well. So to clear all the confusions in your mind, it is an old SoC. But since Realme 3 Pro will be using that SoC this year, people have started thinking that this is a new SoC. It is more powerful than every 6 series SoCs out there. So it was the last year's SoC. It is old as of now. Okay, that's the first thing. Second thing is Snapdragon 675. The SoC was launched in January 2019. That is just a 3-month-old SoC. And immediately after Snapdragon 675 was launched by Qualcomm, Xiaomi ordered bulk of SoCs and used it on their Redmi Note 7 Pro smartphone and debuted the smartphone in India. And now I'll talk with you about the comparisons between the architectures of these SoCs. Kryo is a custom set of cores that has been manufactured or that has been written Qualcomm themselves. Okay, and both of them is an octa-core SoCs, and the cluster of arrangements that is present on both of the SoCs is 2 high-performance cores and 6 power-saving cores, 2 high-performance cores and 6 power-saving cores. The cluster of SoCs is similar on both of the SoCs or both of the processors. Let's come to what is the architecture of the Snapdragon 675. The Snapdragon 675 has the Cortex A76 2 high-performance cores and 6 Cortex A55 power-saving cores. And here in the Snapdragon 710, there are 2 Cortex A75 high-performance cores and 6 Cortex A55 power-saving cores. The Snapdragon 675 is a 11 nanometer SoC and Snapdragon 710 is a 10 nanometer SoC. So power efficiency will be slightly better in the Snapdragon 710. And the GPU that is used on the Qualcomm Snapdragon 675 is the Adreno 612, and the GPU on the Snapdragon 710 is Adreno 616. And Qualcomm Snapdragon 675, the newest SoC, supports Qualcomm Quick Charge 4 Plus. And this SoC supports Qualcomm Quick Charge 4, which is comparatively slower when compared to the 675's Qualcomm's Quick Charge 4 Plus. When it comes to the camera department, 675 supports up to 48 megapixel rear facing camera and 710 does not support that 48 megapixel game. Xiaomi used this SoC to play their new 48 megapixel game on the Redmi Note 7 Pro that was launched last month. So on paper, Qualcomm Snapdragon 675 is definitely a marked improvement over the Snapdragon 660 and also the Snapdragon 710 that we are comparing right now. And Snapdragon 675 is actually a crucial improvement for the 6 series SoCs just because it has a very powerful custom Kryo core, but it has a slightly higher manufacturing process when it compared to the Snapdragon 710. So during the course of comparison, we understood one important thing, that is the Snapdragon 710 that was launched last year has the main focus of power efficiency. It doesn't support a 48 megapixel camera like 675, but it does have a slightly powerful GPU. Well, now let's talk about the most important thing that everyone would be needing from the comparison video of the SoCs, that is the benchmark test. Snapdragon 675 and 710, when compared with each other in all the on-sheet specifications, it has trumped the Snapdragon 710. 675 is certainly an improved SoC just because of the most common thing, that it was launched after the Snapdragon 710. Now I'll tell you guys the AnTuTu benchmark scores of the Snapdragon 675 and also the Geek benchmark scores of 675, comparing it with the Snapdragon 710. AnTuTu benchmark score of Snapdragon 675 is 1,75,000 plus, and for Snapdragon 710 the AnTuTu benchmark score is 1,68,000 plus. This shows that Snapdragon 675 has 20% more performance when it compares to the 710. And let's talk about what the Geekbench score tells. The 675 Geekbench single core score is 2275 and the multi-core score is 5800. And The Snapdragon 710's single core score on Geekbench is 1850 and multi-core score is around 5800. This shows that Snapdragon 675 has 20% advantage over the 710 in the single core department of CPUs. But when we compare the 675 and 710 in the multi-core units, they both are par with each other. When it comes to the day-to-day tasks or normal opening of games and apps, 675 might be slightly higher on paper when it compared with the Snapdragon 710. This is what the on-sheet specification tells. But let's talk about how that SoCs will be used by smartphone manufacturers, guys. The most important bottlenecks that comes with the real world performance of the smartphones is how the smartphone manufacturers use their software optimization on the processors. Let's consider this is the power of one CPU or one processor. Okay, the smartphone's software or the UI that they use is powerful of using only this much. This is the size of the CPU, but the power is only this much. No matter how powerful the CPU is, the software can reach only this much. That's why the hardware becomes useless unless it has been optimized well with the software. Let's consider an example of the last year's S9 Plus and the OnePlus 60. OnePlus 60 beat S9 Plus in a lot of day-to-day usage, like the opening of apps, keeping the apps in memory, and a lot of other things, just because the Oxygen OS was highly optimized when compared to the last year's Samsung OS. I'm not considering One UI for this example. One UI has made a lot of changes when we compare it with the last year's Samsung Experience UI. This example shows that how software plays the highest role in processors' performance in real world. That's why we cannot just give a verdict that the Realme 3 Pro's performance will be lesser than the Redmi Note 7 Pro's performance. We'll only get to know by how they have optimized the software, how the CPUs has been optimized, how the GPU has been optimized, how the battery efficiency will be better than the Redmi Note 7 Pro, and how the apps will be kept on the memory, how the gaming performance will be, and a lot of other things will be tested out only when the smartphone releases, and their testing will be done in real time. Just by seeing the on-sheet specification of Qualcomm Snapdragon 675 and 710, we cannot give a judgment that Redmi Note 7 Pro is the winner in all the departments. But still, Realme 3 Pro is an unreleased product, and we'll have to see how it performs in real time once it releases onto the market. With that said, that's it for this video, guys. If you guys have liked this video, please hit the like button, share this video with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more interesting content ahead. Thank you for watching, guys. The Antutu benchmark score of CPU and GPU for Snapdragon 675 is 81,000 and 35,000 respectively. The Antutu benchmark score of CPU and GPU for the Snapdragon 710 is 66,000 and 36,000 respectively. On sheet, when you see in the cameras and in the performance, 675 is faring well, but when it comes to battery and GPU, 710 is faring well. We'll have to wait for the Realme 3 Pro's launch, and then the comparison videos will come out. Then we'll come to a final verdict that whether Redmi Note 7 Pro with 675 and Realme 3 Pro with 710 is more powerful. Just having a hardware or just having an SoC or processor in your hand and comparing both of them will be of no use, because ultimately both of those processors will be used in some or the other gadget, right?